Now, we can say this is like another foray of Kanan attempting to step out on his own, right? In the first season, he got involved with his family's business, largely working with Marvin, and really messed that up. But some of it was like due to arrogance, life experience, and really a sense of entitlement, right? Based on who his mother and his family are. And so he messed a lot of things up in the first season, was trying to hustle. In the second season, he tried again and really was going about it the wrong way because he was basically stealing his mom's product. Now, in the third season, he's got his own connect and has his own crew that he's putting together. So now, completely independent from RAQ. His uncles aren't involved. You know, none of the family's anywhere around with this right now. But, and I guess we'll have to see what comes from this. He is trying to get Famous involved, like to kind of help him out, right? Really, the motivation is for them to be able to get money together to pay for rent for this apartment that Famous has, because Kanan is basically living there now. Famous doesn't really have any income or anything coming in or whatnot, so without putting some kind of hustle together or getting some kind of job, and with the two of them being high school age, they're not really going to be able to get any kind of a decent job that's going to allow them to afford an apartment and whatever other necessities. So that's where this idea to hustle comes from, or part of the motivation for it, right? Kanan wanted independence from RAQ. But being friends with Famous is one thing. We've seen Kanan make some mistakes due to his immaturity and whatnot, but we can kind of see him developing and see the pathway to him coming into his own, right? Growing into the Kanan that we knew in the original Power. I just don't see that for Famous, right? And it's something that multiple people point out. Howard points out that, well, really going back to Jukebox points out in the earlier seasons multiple times the ways in which Famous is messed up and will mess up. Howard noted the same last year when Famous got arrested. And you now have this guy, I think Simran is his name, who is also noting the same thing about Famous. And something that's mentioned is, thus far, we've only heard mention of Famous smoking weed, right? Like, he's an absolute weed head. But I'm kind of getting the inkling that there might be more than that going on there, right? As the kid, Simran's kid, mentioned that Famous stopped by, and not just that he was high, but like he was like smoked out or whatever. And it's like, okay, you know, the weed is one thing, but you kind of get, or at least I get a little nagging feeling that Famous, if he isn't already, he's going to end up diving into harder drugs. Not to mention, Famous is just like a mess anyway. And in a way, it's good that his laziness is preventing him from getting involved with hustling with Kanan, because hustling in and of itself is going to pose risks from people on the street and then also from the police. And with a sloppy, lazy person like Famous, it's just going to up the risk of things not going right for Kanan, or Kanan finding himself in some problems, right? Look at the situation at the end of last season with Famous trying to rob Freddie the stick-up kid, and how terribly wrong that went. You know, Famous tends to just mess everything up. He's lazy, he has poor work ethic, he has a lot of excuses. He basically just wants to sit around smoking weed and whatnot. You know, because it's like, you even look at it, what's happening with his music career? Nothing. It's like without his sister being there to push him and to open doors and make connections for him, he's not doing anything on his own. So it's like the gift and the curse with Famous choosing not to get involved with Kanan's business, because I think at least for the time being, it'll spare Kanan some problems, because Famous would certainly be the weak link and mess things up. And I think
Thanks for tuning in. To ensure you don't miss any episodes, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, and check out my movie review playlist. Go ahead and click the thumbs up button if you like what you saw, and go ahead and share it on social media.